I was having a lot of symptoms that started about 20 years ago, actually. I, like many people, have had lots of small traumas throughout my life, and a few big ones. And I noticed that now looking back, a lot of my loss of energy related to those traumas. And as I was going along, I got to a place where I had visited the Philippines. I visited with a psychic surgeon, and I had done acupuncture. I had traveled all over looking at different modalities, trying to help myself mentally and spiritually, as well as physically. And nothing was really working. I was making a little bit of progress here and there, but then it seemed like I would just fall all the way back. So I was getting to a point where I was getting desperate. I was depressed. I was tired. I was having a lot of symptoms that progressively got worse. And at the end of 2019, my body literally fell apart. I was having a hard time walking. I was having a hard time talking. I was having a hard time thinking. I was having pins and needles all over my body. I was getting hot and cold. I had brain fog. The symptom list goes on and on and on, and they were pretty severe. Now, I went to regular doctors, of course, and I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia. I took the vitamin B shots for a while and they didn't help. I was diagnosed with hemochromatosis, which is too much iron in the blood. And somewhere along the line, when I was researching them, somehow Derek's name popped up, and I don't remember how or where, but I contacted him. My first consultation was really interesting because he did a body scan in the beginning. And he nailed like 9 out of all the 10 symptoms or more that I had. He nailed them right away. I didn't even tell him. So that to me was really interesting. So I felt like, okay, he sees me. He sees what's going on. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was he didn't go for the diagnosis. He was looking for patterns. And that resonated with me because I knew I had created all these patterns somewhere in the last 20 years with the trauma and the experiences that I had started creating these patterns. So for me, that completely resonated. It's been a long process, so it didn't happen overnight. The very first time he worked on me, which I thought was really interesting, he said, I will be working on you the following week. I'm not sure what day, and I have no idea what time, but I will send you an email. So I was kind of waiting for him to work on me. And I'm like, Tuesday's rolling around and still nothing. And so Tuesday morning I was driving, and all of a sudden I had this sense of peace come over me and a sense of hope, which I had not had at all in a long time. And that sense of hope right in itself was enough for me to just say, okay, this is working. And so I realized he was working on me because I got to my phone and I saw the email. He had just worked on me. So I thought, okay, this is really great. And so it was a progression of hope first and a sense of well-being, but my symptoms were still at 9s and 10s. And he had told me not to really expect those to alleviate much in the very beginning. So just the ability to have hope and to look forward to something was huge for me. Then over the period of a month, I started noticing slowly, like the tingling getting a little bit better, my sense of balance getting a little bit better in increments over the weeks that we worked together. We worked together for 3 months consecutively. And my symptoms are probably 95% completely gone. I get up in the morning. I used to have to nap 2-3 times a day. I would be up, only really could stay up for like 2 hours at a time. I would sleep about 10 hours a night. I would sleep throughout the day. Now I don't take naps. I'm back to working again. I'm writing my book. I'm working on projects. I have so much energy. Now, at one point, I had another small trauma that hit me emotionally, and I took a very large step back. And I called Derek and I told him what happened. And he said, well, let's see how quickly you recover. So I recovered within 48 hours, and he thought that was great. So did I. Then I noticed that each time I would hit an emotional block, I started to recover faster and faster. So now my equilibrium is much better and much more stable. And I'm so positive. I'm not depressed anymore. I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to go take on the day and doing things I've never done before. So it's been really, really amazing. Symptoms were really the least of my problems, even though I had a hard time getting out of bed. It was the emotional, the mental and spiritual depression that I was having that was far worse. I couldn't deal with the physical stuff because I was so focused on the other things that were going on that were holding me down, pushing me back. So there's been an overall shift in everything. And the really great thing is things are starting to happen now, just purely out of nowhere. Opportunities are coming up. People are calling. I have all these great things that are happening that weren't happening before. It was like he opened a door and now everything's being allowed in. My symptoms have improved about 90 to 95%. I was all nines and tens in the beginning, and I'm down to zeros or ones. And it's almost as if now my body's doing what it needs to do to heal itself. My iron levels were so off the charts, and I was doing phlebotomies as take a pint of blood. I was doing that every 2 weeks, and it wasn't working. One day I did the second session when I was starting to do the phlebotomies. We were talking about it, and so he started working on me during the phlebotomies. And by the time I got my blood work done again, my blood was completely normal. My doctor was shocked. Completely shocked. This doesn't happen. He said, you need to have so many phlebotomies to get this done. And my iron was so far off the charts, and now it's completely within range. So that happened after I started working with Derek for the second session when we realized what was going on. That happened within 3 or 4 weeks. My daughter had a session with him as well, 1 month session, and he helped her tremendously, which she went from being a kind of a quiet, shy young lady to singing again and happy again and just a joy to be around. I saw the difference, and that's all that matters. So I think it's a joint effort. It's a team effort. You need to be open to it. You need to allow it to happen, and it's got to be something that you want. And I think that my biggest shift was understanding that I am really in control of allowing this to happen for myself, with him helping and facilitating. But it's really my journey and my responsibility to get, and I just needed a little help. And now I feel like I'm on my way.